Hello everybody and welcome to the second episode, I believe, of Chess 24 After Dark. I'm Jan Gustafsson and I'm delighted to be joined by Fiona Steil-Antoni. Is that your name?
That's my name. Hello everyone.
So technically it's not even after dark, it's 5 p.m. This is really a mislabeling, but we don't want to sit here too late and wait till it's really after dark.
Yeah.
So what's the show gonna be about?
Well, we have picked out a few topics we wanted to talk about. A bit of chess gossip, a bit of controversies, but then you can also feel free to ask us anything you like, and if we think it's interesting, we're going to be answering and just have a bit of...
Just keep an eye on the show.
Exactly.
Tell us what's going on in the chat. But first, tell us about yourself. You're from Luxembourg, right?
Exactly, yeah.
My first question is, what's your native language?
Luxembourgish.
What is it? Is that some strange form of German?
Well, considering you're German, a lot of German people think it's just a dialect. It's just a German dialect, but it is actually an official language. And I believe one of the big advantages of being born in Luxembourg is by the time you finish high school, you fluently speak 4 languages. So we all speak Luxembourgish. German is the second language we learn, then French, and then English.
Why French?
Because by the time we finish high school, we have to be ready to go to university, to France, Germany, or England even. So it's a very good level of French. And also my mother is French, so I would speak it anyway.
I've had 5 years of French in high school. I can't say a word.
How many do you speak?
German, English, Spanish, and if I have to, I can sort of communicate in Dutch and maybe a bit of French if I really have to, but German, English, Spanish.
It's not too bad for a German, I guess.
Well, it's not too great for a chess player. Most chess players speak a lot of languages.
Depending on where they're from.
Does it? I have a feeling like everyone speaks their native language and English, and then a bunch of them, they just pick up a lot of other
Maybe
languages.
because like I travel mostly around Europe, I think the worst are probably the English and the French, I would say.
Well, the English speak English.
Yeah. And apart from that, I mean, I don't want to offend anyone, obviously.
Except for the English.
Except for the English. Yeah, and then... But I think one of the chess players, maybe we can... I think the one who impresses me a lot is Stuart Conquest. He speaks quite a few languages, and he speaks all of them pretty well.
Does he? Oh, fellow Gibraltarian. What does he speak? He speaks English, some Spanish.
Yeah, he speaks good French.
French, huh?
Decent German. And
yeah, that's true as well.
He speaks Icelandic as well. Wow. Which leads us to the gossip. Some old... I think girlfriends and boyfriends are always quite useful when you want to learn a language.
Icelandic, huh? Who knew?
Yeah, I think it's an old story.
Yeah, I was wondering who's the chess player that speaks most languages. There's some candidates. This guy Movsesian, he speaks like 10 languages, I think.
What about Hübner?
I don't know. I don't know him that well. He's a different generation. The German legendary grandmaster. I'm not sure how many languages he speaks. He's into this Icelandic, Finnish, Old Greek, and all kinds of things. I'm not sure if he speaks them all or if it's more of a linguistic study he's been doing. But yeah, he's got to be up there.
So among the strongest, I guess Movsesian then.
I don't know, David Navarra, I'm sure he speaks a lot of languages.
And he's also, I'm very impressed with David because every time I see him, whichever country we're in, he always has a dictionary. So whichever country he's in, he always tries to learn something, which I think is great, to be able to at least communicate the basics in the country's language. I
got lazy with German, English, Spanish. You sort of get by everywhere.
You travel a lot, when you go to countries, do you try to make an effort?
No. I switch off my German because I know Germans aren't well liked anywhere, so I speak English, and if they don't, well, Spanish-speaking countries I can communicate as well. But else, I think everyone speaks English these days. We're so globalized that the word.
Yeah. So, what do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. You tell me. You know the chess gossip world a lot better than me. There's been some weddings that I've caught.
Exactly. I've been really actually looking forward to this because yesterday I was here with Ilya and we played some Banterblitz.
Right.
and it was in German as well. So I was a bit apprehensive because I don't like to speak German too much. I don't think I speak German.
Me neither. I switch it off whenever I can. You guys know I don't do any shows in German anymore. It's a horrible language.
And also, and there was the chess. The quality of the games wasn't great.
I was hoping we could do some Beal analysis live on the air, but I'll spare you then.
Yeah. So today, I think this is where I excel. You know, no chess and just talk. So quite looking forward to it.
So and keep us posted. There's been the marriage of our friends Anish Giri and Sopiko Guramishvili last weekend, I think.
Yeah. We just need to keep an eye on the chat. Luke's been telling us, whoever Luke is, that Ivanchuk, we missed out Ivanchuk on the languages front.
Does he speak so many languages?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
I don't know how many, but I think he speaks many.
Speaks Russian, Ukrainian, English.
I wouldn't be surprised. Doesn't he even know Turkish or some obscure languages?
I wouldn't know.
Okay, let's move on to the weddings.
No, I'm still interested in that question.
Yeah, well, Luke, if you can tell us what you know, then tell us. Let us know.
Still, I think one has to sort of draw a line, because the one thing I take pride in is that I speak good English. And a lot of people speak, whatever, 5 languages, but they really only speak their native language. Yeah. So it's a tricky subject.
It's true. Okay, so you were just starting to say...
someone who speaks a lot of languages is Anish Giri.
Yep.
He speaks, I don't even know what he speaks, Nepalese, Japanese, English, Dutch, Russian, of course. He's only 20 years old, or 21 now. Yeah. And he's married, he's 2800. What is this guy doing?
I don't know. And he seems to have a life as well.
He seems social and well-rounded, sharp. Yeah. I don't know. Where did it all go wrong?
Exactly. So, he got married to a fellow author of you, a fellow colleague, Sopiko. Can you tell us a bit about Sopiko? Do you know them both well?
I don't know them that well. I know them a bit, like Sopiko has been working for us, and Anish, even though he's only 21, he's been around for a while. I think they're great together. They seem to get along very well. They're both very sharp, very friendly. Good people. I wish I could talk some trash at least, but I don't. Yeah. I don't have many complaints, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Except for the fact that Anish got married at age 21 or 20, which is very young, like in Germany. Yeah. But he seems to know what he's doing. He seems happy. What's your take?
On the wedding or on their...
On marriage, on their marriage, age to get married?
Well, I think it's mainly a question of cultural differences, maybe. I think maybe where Sopiko, she's from Georgia, I think in those countries it's more usual to get married at an earlier age. I mean, for me personally, I'm getting old now. So
Tell me about it.
We're not married, probably won't be married anytime soon, and I think there's less of a hurry here. But I think everyone should always decide for themselves. I think everyone's the best judge for when they should get married.
That's very politically correct. There's an old interview with Sopiko. Here we see their wedding picture, by the way. Anish and Sopiko obviously standing in the middle, and next to them our friend Robin van Kampen looking sharp. Anyway, what I was going to say is there's an old interview by Sopiko where she said, my future boyfriend, he should not be a chess player, he should not wear glasses, and he should by no means be younger than me. So in a way it all went wrong, but she seems to have changed her opinion.
I saw this. I didn't watch too much, I'm afraid I have to admit, of your commentary in Norway Chess, but I saw your interview with Sopiko, so I wasn't aware of this until that point. But yeah, that's the picture. Seems with all the Dutch players that were at the wedding.
Let's get back to it. Who are these people? Now the picture's gone. Oh, there they are again.
So on the right, that's Twan Book.
That guy? I don't know that guy.
I think he's only just got his last GM norm, so he's going to be a GM very soon. Twan Book. And then on the left to Anish is, of course, Alina Lemmy. I think if you follow the chess world, you will be very familiar with her. I think she's one of the best chess photographers nowadays. She's also an extremely strong player. She's an IM, a male IM, but she shoots some fantastic pictures. Behind her, he's a bit hidden, but that's her husband. Erwin, and then on the left, that's Benjamin Bok.
Another young Dutch talent.
Exactly.
They all seem to be friends in Holland as well. Yeah. That annoys me too. Like, everyone's friendly and the team gets along and they hang out together and they train together.
How many German grandmasters would there be on your wedding if you got married?
None of them. Even if I invited them all, no one would show up. Like my funeral, I'm expecting a huge party. But no, I don't know. They're very close-knit in the Dutch chess society. We don't have that in Germany. It's also a bigger country, so probably.
Tell me, how much do you think it does for the strength of a team, let's say for an Olympiad or for a team competition, when the team gets on well?
I'm not sure about that. My honest opinion is I think it's overrated. Because chess, at the end of the day, you play as a team, but everyone is very focused on their own preparation.
You were part of the German team in 2011?
2011, yeah, we won something.
Yeah. And the atmosphere wasn't
wasn't as bad as people say, really. But no, I think it might help more long term if you have relationships and people train together and exchange ideas. But at the event itself, I'm not sure how much matters. Makes it more enjoyable, certainly, but I'm not sure for team success. I think there's a lot of great teams, not only in chess and basketball. Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, they weren't very good friends, but they crushed everyone. I think it can also motivate if you really dislike your teammates and I really want to do better than that guy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But so we could there could be a bright future for the Dutch team, for example. All very young, promising.
Nah, I doubt it, except for Anish, they're really not any good.
Because they're not too focused.
Hi, Robin.
They're not focused enough on... It's difficult nowadays. I think it's getting more and more difficult to be a chess professional player.
No, the thing is, especially if you're from a Western country like Holland, it's not a smart play. If you're, let's say, Robin, just because I know him and he's a good friend and a video author, he's a very strong player. He's like 2.640, 2.630. He's 20 years old. But it's probably the right choice for him. What he's doing is to go to college, get a normal education, make a lot of money later.
Again now, I think, very, very shortly. He will go to one of the best schools in Rotterdam, I believe, soon. So, yeah.
And it's
difficult.
It's sad for chess, but also, if you think long term, at some point you'll be my age and you're, a 2600 player. You can't make a living playing chess. You got to sit here and talk about stuff.
Someone asked you about, someone mentioned, of course, the Armenian team, which is the team I had in mind, one of the teams I had in mind when I talked about team spirit, obviously.
Are they such good friends, or is that for show? That's another question I always had, because they always pronounce at every juncture how close they are. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not accusing them of not being. I was just curious.
I don't know, because Levin Aronian, I mean, a lot of his seconds actually come from the national team, so there must be something there at least.
Speaking of Levon, this is more from the gossip department, but it's not a secret. He hasn't been doing very well the last 1.5 years. One of the things I thought, but I'm not sure if that's true, I haven't asked him about it, so it seems like he's no longer working with Sargsyan, who was a very good friend and also the very strong member of these Armenian teams, and a tremendous theoretician. I've always had great respect for Sargsyan. Do you know anything about that?
No, unfortunately not. I used to, sometimes I think I used to know more about these things, but I haven't heard. I haven't heard about this particular. I know that in Norway chess, while you were there, he was there with the French grandmaster.
No, he plays for France.
Guramishvili, yeah, of course he's Armenian.
Guramishvili sounds Armenian.
He represents France, so that's who he was with.
Right.
In Norway, so yeah, I don't know. I never... I'm not strong enough a player to judge this, but I always wonder when you're 26, let's say around 2650, between 2650 and 2700, how much do you want to be a second? And then at some point, if you want to progress really make it by yourself, do you think you can still be a second? Are these two compatible, or?
I think it's compatible if you don't do it full time, but you also learn a lot, like a lot of guys. Yeah. Well, we know whom Vishy Anand worked with at these World Championship matches, and also Carlsen and so on. I think that's a great learning experience. Yeah. it's a tough job if you do it more or less full-time. I wasn't doing it full-time, but there was 1 year I was working for Peter Lako in like 2009. It was very, very interesting and educational from how to, not only the chess knowledge, but also how he approaches things. But I'm not sure it automatically makes you a better chess player, because you're doing very specific stuff and mainly pushing buttons at night, really. So the balance is good, and I think it makes sense for everyone to do it once in a while to learn something. But it can get in the way of your own playing if that's your focus.
Do you think world champion Magnus Carlsen, do you think he has a lot of secret seconds, or most people we know about?
I'm not sure what's public and what's not. Obviously, we know about Jon Ludwig Hammer, we know about Laurent Fressinet.
And recently Dingley Wren.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was public knowledge, but it's been written somewhere.
It's been written.
Yeah, I've known about that for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of secret seconds, but also people are friends. And Magnus, he's not a very organized guy, but he likes to hang out. I'm sure he's hanging out with Nepomniachtchi and Potkin and those guys, and they'll talk about chess. But the line, I think, is kind of blurry there.
We have someone we were talking about how you learn from being a second, but back to the language very briefly. Do you think chess does chess influence the ability to learn a new language? How do you think chess helps us in everyday life, not just with languages? But
my honest opinion or my promote chess opinion?
What's your honest opinion on the matter?
I think with any activity, if you do it a lot, you're gonna get good at that activity, and then people will try to come up with studies like whatever, being good at chess will improve your grades or will make you good at math. I'm not sure how strong the correlation is. I think you're attracted to certain topics where you can improve, and maybe if you're attracted to chess, odds are you're good at languages, math, whatever. But I don't really see a direct correlation. Everything's very specific.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I personally at high school I did a literature section, and I was always terrible at mathematics, and people couldn't believe it because they said, "Oh, you're a chess player, you have to be good at maths," and I could never really see the correlation, as you say.
Yeah, me neither. I separate the world into two types of people. It's numbers people and words people. That's not a very scientific approach, but I think both of them can be good chess players. Like, I don't like math either. I've never had any interest in it, but I do like logic with words, like philosophy and talking nonsense and so on. And I think there's plenty of chess players who don't have an interest in mathematics and are still quite good.
Something they have an interest in, though, that was another comment in the chat, is social life. Because someone, back to our good friend Robin, someone mentioned that Robin once said he was too social, maybe, to be a strong professional.
That guy is social? Doesn't strike me as social at all.
What do you make of that? How social are you? Well, do you ever still play strong tournaments, or have you pretty much retired from competitive?
I'm old and retired, and I work here sort of full time. Like, I play once in a while, but nowadays, I'm not gonna be world champion. And I play tournaments I enjoy. We can talk. I know you play a lot of tournaments.
Yeah. I know you're famous for playing in Bangkok, a tournament I've never played in, but I would like to.
Best tournament in the world, the Thailand Open. I'm always telling people.
Probably not a very social affair.
No, it's great. You can be social, you cannot be social. It's a fantastic hotel, fantastic food, fantastic weather. The beach, a lot of nightlife there if you wanted to, so what's not to like? But back to social, nah, I'm not buying that either. I think it's a personality thing. Some guys are social, some are introvert. Yeah. As long as you don't overdo it and you get in your chess studying, it doesn't really matter if you go out or not.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's maybe I'm being too politically correct all the time, but it's a bit like weddings. I think you just have to find the right balance for yourself. But what I do think, I think you tend to do well when you play a tournament where you feel happy and positive, when you're around people you like and you're having a good time. I think in general you tend to do better. And I think for me personally, social life contributes to that,
I agree with that. I'm not a very social guy, but if I'm at a tournament and I don't know anybody and I have to, get food from, get dinners by myself, then I'll probably play worse because I don't feel at home. So yeah, I'm with that, but I don't know if you can be too social or not social enough.
Here's a question I'll have to think about for a while. Fiona, which entrance song would you choose if there were any in chess tournaments?
Oh, that's a very important question.
A bit like in darts, so where do they have that? Boxing?
No, boxing.
But darts as well. I've started watching some darts, so I know that, for example, Phil Taylor, he has a song, "The Power." I got the power.
Ah, the old Snap classic.
Yeah. So I'll think about that for a while. It would be interesting in chess.
No, I've given the topic a lot of thought.
Yeah? What would be your song?
Monster, Kanye West. Or MOP, Andy Up. That's the two songs I like to hear before chess games.
But it's taken you a while to come up with those. So I'll have to think fast to come up with a good one.
What music do you like?
Pretty much everything that isn't like techno, or I quite like old rock and roll, like Led Zeppelin, The Who, that kind of stuff. I saw The Who live last year and I loved it.
They're still around? Must be.
Just half of them.
It's like a shameless money grab, like the Eagles, these 70-year-old guys going on tour.
Exactly, it wasn't cheap, but yeah, like indie, pop rock, pretty much everything. I like bands like right now Florence and the Machine, but then also like smaller bands people probably haven't heard of, like Portugal the Man, or...
I've never heard of Florence and the Machine
really?
either. No.
Okay, then we have to stop talking about music.
Go ahead.
Together. What else is there? Christina Aguilera, Fighter. Yeah, probably wouldn't choose that one.
No.
No.
She's not supposed to be a very nice person, Christina Aguilera. Unlike Kanye West, which is why I went with
big
Kanye.
fan?
No, I like his old stuff, and I think he has some good songs. I think he's probably a horrible person too.
Yeah. Well, actually, that topic of songs, sometimes when I talk, my mind goes very far away, and it makes links that are not very obvious. But so I was thinking of darts, and darts leads me to another topic we were thinking of talking about, which is Nigel's short take on women's chess.
Where does darts lead you there?
Because I was thinking about how in chess, well, obviously men are stronger, there's a lot more with stronger players, and there is an obvious reason why they should be. So I was trying to think of any other sports or things like that. I mean, obviously all the physical sports, like running or basketball or whatever, it's obvious.
Have you heard of Ronda Rousey, though?
Who?
Ronda Rousey.
No, what is
I'm a big
she?
Ronda Rousey fan. She's doing this ultimate fighting, this mixed martial arts. She's crushing everyone. It's a big discussion if she could beat Floyd Mayweather in a martial arts fight, and I think she probably would. Anyway, I do agree with your general point.
So my point is that, as I said, I've started watching a bit of darts, and someday I watched women's darts, and it was terrible. It had nothing to do with men's darts, and again I thought, there isn't an obvious reason. I can't think of an obvious reason why a woman wouldn't be able to throw a dart as well as a man.
Yeah, it's obviously a sensitive topic for me, so I'll let you do most of the talking. I personally agree. We had an article written by Ilya on Chess24, and his conclusion was, men are just more fanatical about everything, and both ways. There's a lot more male criminals, male homeless, but they also reach more of the top of their respective fields, because we're just obsessed and gonna sit there and put in the 10,000 hours, while women are more balanced but not that focused on one topic. I'm not sure that goes for everyone, but it made sense to me.
Yeah, I haven't actually read that article.
It's a good article.
I should read that. There's someone asking what we're doing and if we're playing chess. No, we're not going to play any chess. We're probably, if you want, we could have a look at the Beale games. But no, this is just a talk show. As
Necromancer summed it up, just having random talk. That's what we excel at.
I think it's what we've been doing well so far. It's been pretty random, I feel. So, but again, if you have any questions or if you have anything you would like us to discuss, just feel free to...
Nah, don't worry about them. Tell us why women can't play chess.
Yeah, I don't know, I've obviously been asked this many times before, obviously because I'm a woman chess player. Maybe we haven't said that in the introduction. Maybe people...
That you're a woman or that you're a chess player? Women International Master Fiona Steil-Antoni is joining us today.
I hope people can see that I'm a woman, otherwise something's gone a bit wrong. But yeah, I am a chess player myself, and obviously I thought about this, but yeah, I don't really... I have to say I'm probably not as interested and as fanatical about this whole topic as other colleague female players of me. I think it's a shame, but I can't really... I think it's a mix of so many different factors. And maybe there is some truth, to what Nigel said. Actually, we were going to talk about this. Maybe you can recap for us the whole story very briefly.
I haven't followed it that closely. And frankly, I think you guys know Nigel, short, famous former vice world champion, beloved commentator. He has a lot of controversial opinions. He wrote this one article which I didn't think was that strong. I thought his point was mainly that men and women are not wired the same. But I don't want to misquote him. I think that it has been done plenty. I can't recall it. But it led to a huge storm all over the media. A lot of outrage or fake outrage with titles like The Telegraph says girls just don't have the brains to play chess, according to Nigel Short. So it's been a big topic. Yeah. I personally thought it was much ado about nothing because, well, his article wasn't that strong, but a lot of people feel differently about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the whole story, in my opinion, has been blown out of proportions very much. I think to start, I know Nigel quite well, as do you probably. I don't always agree with everything he says or writes, but...
it's full of crap, but that one, like...
So I've read this article in UN Chess, and I thought even in the same article there were other things he said that were more shocking than the thing about... When I first read it, I didn't feel offended, I didn't feel shocked. I just thought, maybe that's one of the many factors contributing. I do actually believe that there are some topics or some fields in life where women are just maybe better and others where men are better. So yeah, and also when the whole story came out, I thought there were quite a few women chess players who came out with stories how they were being bullied as women players or stories like that. And I was quite surprised by that, because I have to say, from a personal point of view, again, I've always felt very made welcome, and I haven't had any negative experience with being disrespected or something. Or
I was going to ask you about that, because I also read all these statements, and I was frankly quite surprised. A lot of women saying the chess world is so disrespectful and it's a men's world. I always thought it was the opposite, like chess players, they're so happy that if there's any women around, so they'll really be treated well. So I've never witnessed much about it, but it must have happened. I'm sure people don't make up these stories.
It must have occurred, as with there's always going to be idiots out there, let's put it that way, like everywhere. It's not just...
There's idiots everywhere.
There's idiots everywhere. But I don't think... I think it's really the exception. I think in general we're made to feel, as you say, I think the boys and the men like to have us around. There's not so many of us, so I'm not sure why they would
as
try.
Chess players, we also don't get to meet women outside of chess, so really, chess players normally, well, they might not be the most socially skilled, even though that's a stereotype as well, but I haven't seen anybody being offensive or dismissive towards women in chess, but I'm also not a woman, so I don't have first-hand experience.
There is David in the chat asking if you could play a game of chess against me, but that's definitely not going to happen.
No, I have this massive brain, it wouldn't be fair.
Exactly.
Just kidding.
Then we have a chess question about a favorite chess player. You've probably answered that millions of times.
My thing is, I don't really care. I'm not a chess fan. Like, this is my world and I do it, but... Well, that sounds wrong. I am a chess fan, and I'm interested in what's going on. But
you're more interested in the games, maybe, than the players? Or?
Yeah, well, of course, you're friendly with some people, and you're less friendly with others, and you admire styles of one guy or the other more. When growing up, I was always a Kramnik fan because I felt like his style was something I could relate to, and I really liked the way he played and how he approached the openings, and when he won against Kasparov. That was, yeah, the guy I was trying to emulate, obviously. Failed, but the one I looked up to. And else, I quite like the new generation we have. I think all these guys are nice. I like Magnus, I like Levon, I like Fabiano Caruana, I like Anish Giri. I think all these guys are good guys, but I don't really have a favorite chess player.
And I think my favorite, and it's maybe going to be a bit surprising, but when I started playing chess, when I was 10 or 11 years old, my father took me to the Dortmund Sparkassen tournament, and Morozevich played a King's Gambit, and I hadn't heard of him, but ever since that day, he was my favorite.
Guy.
Yeah, he was my favorite. It's hard to explain, just, you know, sometimes you're 10 years old and you become a fan and it just stays that way.
Stick with it.
Yeah, so he's always been a favorite of mine. Unfortunately, he doesn't play too much.
No, I'm not sure
not
what
as
he's up
much
to.
as he used to. But yeah, another topic. Someone in the chat, it's gone now, but he asked if I heard about the controversy that happened at the European Women's Championship just this. When was it? In May.
I have to answer this. Someone says I conveniently left out Hikaru. No, I like Hikaru as well. We have disagreements about the value of sushi. Like, Kiri is really into sushi. I'm not a big fan, but no, like all these guys are right.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying there's a link for you guys there to the article about this story at the European Women's. So he asked me if I knew about this, and obviously, unfortunately, I very much know about it because I was actually there. I was in Georgia. I didn't play.
Pictures to prove it. Well prepared.
You hadn't told me this. So yeah, that's me with Mihaela Sandu, who unfortunately became the main figure of the tournament. She started the tournament with 5 out of 5, or was it 6 out of 6?
I can't remember. I think 5
out
of 5.
5 out of 5, and she was only maybe number 20 or 30 seated. Yeah, I didn't know Mihaela too well before the tournament, but we spent a lot of time together there, which was mainly due to the two of us being two of the only people not speaking Russian. So we spent a lot of time there, and you know, the problem is when I was there, I was part of the appeals committee, so of course I have to remain.
What are job duties on the appeals committee? I never understood that. Do you have anything to do there, or that's
not really. I was also, you know, I was also writing some reports and taking some pictures, but it basically you just wait for an appeal to happen, which didn't. So I can't freely talk about it because I wasn't actively involved. There was never any appeal. There was an open letter, but that wasn't directed to us. So I didn't have anything to do with it directly. I didn't have anything to do with any of the decisions that were taken or any of the measures. But what I want to say is I'm personally, and this is just my personal opinion, 100% convinced Mihaela didn't cheat. And I think what happened there was not only very unfair, but also disgusting, to put it that way. So what was your take on it? You saw the games?
Yeah, to recap, I'm not sure everyone knows the story, but yeah, Sandu, she's a 2300 player, which is strong but not among the favorites in the tournament. She started with 5 out of 5, then I think she lost a game where I don't know, I think she lost a game, then she won another one against Stefanova, and then on the free day there was an appeal, well, signed by many players that to delay the transmission and also naming her name.
In fact, there were 2 different letters, which is one of the main points. The first letter didn't name her, just asked for a general delay, and even that was only signed but around 30 out of almost 100, so it was just a third of the participants, and there was a second letter accusing her directly, which was signed by, I believe, maybe only 12 or 13 people, so just 2.
It's a very tricky topic. Personally, I've had a look at the games. I'm 100% sure it wasn't computer cheating, and I've said so much publicly. Of course, you can never be 100% sure. To me, it didn't look like cheating. It looked like she played very well from move 20 till 35 in a couple games. The, to my mind, most plausible and most likely explanation is just she played a couple good games and she beat a couple of 2-4, 50, 2,500 players that are stronger than her, but it's not, it can happen. It's outliers. So that's what I think. Of course, you never have proof, and there's nothing I dislike more than cheating in chess, and you would never want to defend a cheater. I don't think she cheated in that case, and I think it's just as dangerous to accuse people of cheating than to, well, actually cheat, so it goes both ways.
Exactly. I think one of the main reasons why it was so unfair was I talked to Mihaela about this, and she's a chess coach. She doesn't play so much any longer. So first of all, it would be just stupid for her to cheat, because if she was caught, her whole life would be over. She couldn't be a coach anymore. She would just lose everything. Chess is her life. So first of all. And second of all, she had prepared really seriously for this tournament. And I think when you come to a tournament, you've invested so much time and effort preparing for an event, and then you do well. She also got lucky in a few games. She had some quite bad positions where her opponents just went wrong, and then you get accused. It's just I was there and it was awful. Like I don't know how I would be able. I don't know how anyone could cope with this, because when she was accused, there were still 5 rounds to play.
And she lost the last 5 or last 4
the last
or something
4,
like
so there were 4 left to play. And I think it's just very sad. But I think the story isn't over. There has been something has been put forward to the Ethics Commission of the FIDE, so we might hear more about this in the future.
Yeah, no, I find it very difficult also to judge, because I also know the other side. If you're in a tournament and you're suspecting someone is cheating, it's also a terrible feeling. You don't want to play them and you don't know what to do. So it's a tricky situation. What I think mainly went wrong, like if you have a suspicion someone's cheating, I think you can go to the arbiter and tell them, okay, can we do something about this, but to make this public without any evidence, and when the games are clearly saying it's not cheating, it's dangerous, because nowadays everything is very public.
Because there was actually a rule. I'm not sure why this didn't happen. If Zhukova, who was the player who wrote this letter in the first place, there was a rule in the tournament that if you had suspicions, you could go to the arbiter and ask for a player to be checked. But this didn't happen, so it was a bit of a weird story. But I think there's so much to be said about cheating nowadays. We could talk about cheating for 2-3 hours probably, but I think, as we said, it's very dangerous nowadays with so much paranoia around. I'm a woman, I am 2150, I'm not even woman, I am level any longer. And sometimes I think, luckily I never play really good games.
No, but that's also a problem.
I never have this problem of being accused, because I'll probably never produce an outstanding game. But I think it's difficult, because you're almost afraid to do well. You're afraid
That's what I mean. Nowadays, if you're, a 2,300 player, and if you beat 2 grandmasters, like, people will, well, maybe not accuse you directly, but we will certainly check. And also, there are a lot of cheaters. It's not like this paranoia comes out of nowhere, but it is a real big problem, and I don't have a solution, really, because technology is so far advanced. You can cheat if you want to. You just hope that people respect the game, and that they know they're not only destroying it for themselves, but for everybody, really. Like, the chess reputation gets horrible if someone cheats, so it's just not worth it for anybody to win.
I think it's also dangerous nowadays, because there's quite a few people. I think there was a case in India recently where a player cheated who was only 1,600 or something like that. And I mean, there's not so much for these guys, and I feel like a few people are just doing it for the fun of it. They don't care if they get banned for life, or so it's becoming quite. Obviously, there are some people. There is this anti-cheating commission who I think is doing a good job in trying to come up with some. There are no solutions, but trying to work towards it. But it's going to be a long fight, and.
Yeah, and people, that's what they do. Even on Chess24, you wouldn't believe how many people cheat in random blitz games on the internet when there's really nothing to win. I mean, I don't really get it, but it is there, and it's going to be there for a while. The good thing is nowadays, I think it's reasonably easy to catch the dumb cheaters, like someone who makes computer moves or who thinks, oh, I'm smart, I'm going to make the second, third computer line. We're more advanced than that. We can find out who cheated using a computer and who didn't. But of course, it gets very tricky if, whatever, a 2600 player gets information 2-3 times a game or like works it in, then it gets dicey.
I thought it was a shame, you know, when I think one of the most famous cheating cases of our time so far was Boris Ivanov from Bulgaria, and they caught him, but I think they never found out how exactly he cheated. There was something in his shoe.
I didn't follow up on that. Yeah.
I think when they asked him, I think he did take off his clothes, or most of his clothes anyway, and when they asked him to take off his shoes, he refused, or his socks. So they knew it was in his shoe, but I think they never found out how exactly he cheated, because he didn't just cheat in classical time controls, he did also cheat in rapid events, where there was no live broadcast. So I thought that was a shame, because I think if he hadn't been so dumb of making it so obvious he was cheating, you know, he was young. Like, it's an awful thing to say, but if he'd taken his time, if he had such a great system, it would be hard to, like Nigalice, the Georgian player.
Yeah, well, also what's the point? Like, everyone knew with this guy Ivanov he was cheating forever, and then it's
because
just
he was
a question
making it so obvious. But if he'd taken a few years and just progressed slowly and pretended he was working on his chess, maybe he would have been caught eventually.
You can still find out. You can still feel if someone can play chess or not.
Yeah, but you don't know, for example, Nigalice, how much he was 25 plus when he was caught. You don't know how much of that is cheating and how much of that is his actual playing strength.
That's the thing. If strong players get into it, whoever, you can just appeal to them. Don't do it. You're destroying your own career and you're destroying chess, because you can't market it. You can't have big events with any credibility if people think, all these guys are cheating with computers. The good thing is, I think it's pretty obvious, and well, no one's even talking about it. None of the top players are cheating. So at super tournaments, well, there's nothing going on there. So the media is not all over it, but also these small cases at a random open 1600 player cheats. This is all over the news, and sometimes also non-chess sites. So this hurts the game quite a bit.
I think it is, as you said, very hurtful for chess that most of the times when chess makes it to the news is for all the bad reasons. It's Nigel Short made it very much to the news with his comments, with his article, although this wasn't intended. I don't believe Nigel wrote. I don't think Nigel realized when he wrote this article how much of a controversy he was going to create.
No, I agree.
And then
Nigel likes attention, but this was not the one he was gunning for.
I think he can do a lot better than this if he wants to grab someone's attention. And then obviously the cheating cases, the media all over this. So it's a shame. But then on the other hand, we have Magnus Carlsen, who does a lot, I believe, for chess.
Not a lot of cheating. That's no, that's true. Yeah. He's the biggest mainstream superstar we've had, maybe since Fischer. I don't know.
We have Pascal here from the office telling us, of course, that the most known case is Feller, who is now since recently allowed to play again.
Has he played? He played French League or something, right?
Exactly. Yeah. This is another case. There is Nick asking in which event he cheated. Well, most famously in the Olympiad 2010, Hanti Mansisk.
Yeah, the suspicions were around for a while in tournaments before that, but at the Olympiad it did blow up, and I'm not sure.
Actually, like the Feller case is a case that makes me a bit sad, because Sebastien, he's 2 years younger than me, and he grew up in a city in France that's just maybe 20 minutes or half an hour away from where I live. So we've been playing alongside each other. We were on the same youth team. There was a youth league in France, and we were always on the same team. So I've known him for a long time, and I've known him quite well. And he was an extremely strong player when he was young. Extremely talented, but also extremely hardworking. So I don't know what exactly went wrong and what led to him cheating, but it struck me as a big shame to do something like that.
Yeah, I have zero sympathy. We all have our problems. Everyone wants more money, but to do that, I mean, it's
Yeah, it's not understandable.
I don't think there's any excuses, and I'm sure it's nice guys and strong players and so on, but just don't do that.
No, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I think it's a shame. I don't understand why anyone. Maybe it's just for you cheaters out there. Why would you do this? It's a shame to put so much at stake when you're such a strong player already. So hopefully there's not going to be too many more cases. Fingers crossed.
We don't know, but the Sandu case, it did seem more, well, from afar at least, it seemed more like a witch hunt to me than an actual cheating case. So that's going to be a topic. It's going to be around for a while. Let's move on to more cheerful topics. First of all, we have another wedding to get through. Sounds a bit wrong. If I manage to bring it up.
There they are.
There they are, Radek Wojtaszek, Vichy Anand's trainer and 2750 player. You know that guy?
Not too well, no.
Whom did he marry? I don't know his wife.
Alina Kashinskaya from Russia. She's an international master. She might make it to the Russian team. Actually, in the European women's where there was this Sandu case, I think she got the bronze medal. So she's a very strong player herself. They got married in Moscow. I believe Vichy attended the wedding.
Yeah, it was.
I haven't seen any pictures, but he did tweet about it, I believe. What do you think about chess weddings? There's a lot of, it's a topic I was talking about quite recently. I played a few tournaments in Corsica, and I was having dinner with Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, who is playing in Biel right now, and with Etienne Bacrot, and we talked about how there were so many chess couples around, but then how that's also logical in a way because we don't meet so many other people. We're very much in our own.
Chess players also normally, like to pick up other skills or have other fields like whatever, university or other jobs where people meet. I don't think it's a chess phenomenon. I think you go to any big company, you will find a lot of inner company couples, a lot of people meet at universities. And I think it's more or less a natural thing. Who else is there? Nigel got married, I believe, to what's
Julia Schweiger?
Julia Schweiger, that's right, from Israel.
Give you some water. It's not so easy talking for such a long time.
Such a long time? I thought you did commentary. Normally we sit here for 6 hours talking about chess.
I don't know how, the first time I did it, but anyway, we're getting away from the chess couple. But it's not so easy for you people out there doing your job. I've only done it twice, but it's extremely tiring, I think.
No, I think it's the easiest part of the job. Sit around and talk nonsense about chess games. I enjoy it. Problem is,
probably
you do get tired after a couple hours.
You're a lot stronger than me because it's not so easy for me.
No, I just use the computer. I cheat constantly. This is true.
Yeah.
Your voice leaves you after a couple hours. That's my problem.
Yeah. Did you ever comment on a double round?
No, but I did comment on the Giri Kayakin Norway Chess 2014 game that lasted 9 hours, I believe. That was a tough one. We were there at midnight, starving. But no, I enjoyed it, really did.
Yeah. So, but back to, again, I don't know how I managed to distract you from, we were talking about Nigel, who got married, I believe a year ago, a bit less than a year ago.
Oh yeah, it's true, it's been a while. Well, Kayakin, he's remarried, right? I'm not that up to date on that stuff. I heard he didn't marry recently. No. I heard some Kayakin rumors. Is he getting a kid, or did he get a kid, or is something going on?
You're asking me too much. I thought I was
good. You were on top of this stuff.
At gossip. No, I know that he was married to a Ukrainian chess. I believe she was a woman grandmaster before, and he is now married to a Russian girl who I think she's a chess player, but a very basic amateur player. Right. Yeah. But I haven't heard anything about a kid.
I might be wrong. Don't quote me on this.
Again,
I thought I heard
if you people out there, if you know more about this than we do, let us know on the chat.
Livon's getting married?
Yeah. But we don't know much more about this, do we?
I don't know
Do you
much.
know?
I just sit here and feel old, like everyone's getting married, having kids.
Yeah, so he's been with his girlfriend, well, his fiance now, for a long, long time. She's around the tournament sometimes. Ariane.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like 10 years or something,
yeah,
right? Must have
yeah.
been
I
for
think
a
the
really
first
long time.
time I saw them together was in Mainz, when Mainz still existed in 2005.
Good old days.
Yeah. Who else do we have?
I don't know.
Who is the strongest, do you know?
Who? The
Strongest
strongest
couple.
married couple?
Yeah.
Anish and Sopiko must be up there, right?
Yeah. Also, well, someone who did have a kid, it's not that reason, it's Victoria Schmilite.
Peter Heine, yeah, that I've heard of course.
They must be somewhere up there in the rating because she does have a very decent...
Let's do the math. Like, Anish is 2,790, let's say. What's Sopiko? 2,390?
I'll let you do the maths.
No, I can't do math either. We've covered this earlier. Okay, like Peter Heine, he's like 2,650, so that's 140 points less than Anish. And Victoria, she's like 2520, so it's very close between those.
One of the gossip, you know, when I came here, Ilya told me, get your gossip straight. And I thought the problem with gossip is, if we were sitting here without cameras, it would be different. Because we would be talking about people we know about. And the problem is, if we talk about friends, the problem is the next time we see them, they might not be talking to us any longer.
I don't have that problem. I don't have any friends. I'm just not that zoomed into the gossip part.
Oh, of course, we have some more suggestions. The Sochkos. Bartosz, who is playing the tournament here in St. Pauli. Tournament I went to yesterday. I'm going to go there again tonight.
They're weaker though.
Yeah, they're weaker.
He's 2.6.
But they are both
30, 40.
They are both full GMs. She's a GM.
That's true.
Yeah, and the Lamis, of course. But yeah, someone I was going to talk about is Grishuk. He must have been up there. He was married to Zhukova, and I'm not sure how much of open, how much of a secret, or. And I feel that's one of the ones I can talk about because I don't know them personally. But you know who he's with, of course, now.
I know everything, but I just pretend I don't. So whom is he with?
So he is now with Katerina Lagno, who
Okay.
switched federations to Russia.
Okay.
So they must be the strongest by rating.
But they're not married, right?
No.
I thought marriage was...
Was marriage a prerequisite? Okay, someone is doing the maths for us. Colin. Oh, Colin, who I've heard about. I was just asking Ilya earlier who was writing the English articles for Chess24 because
That's
I didn't know. And that's Colin.
Oh, and of course, I didn't know Kashlinskaya. She's and Wojciech. They're higher rated than Sopiko and Giri.
We would never have figured this out by 4 points.
Even though we had the pictures right here, I didn't think about them. I didn't know she was a strong player. So those are the current title holders. Still, Radek, he's aging and he's been a bit in decline. So, I'm half kidding. But Anish is like 20 years old.
Are you sure they are the strongest? Because he's been telling us they are higher than Sopiko and Giri. But is there anyone in the top 10 who's married to...
Let's go through the list. Magnus is not married. Last time I checked. Karana is not married. Nakamura is not married.
Do you know the top 10 by heart?
Anand is married, but his wife is not a chess player. Topalov's wife is also not a chess player.
No?
Kramnik's wife, not a chess player. So, not married. Giri, well, he's up there. Who else we got in the top 10? Nah, there's no one.
Yeah. No. So it's probably... But there's people like Wojciech, you know, if their wives are like 2,500, then we could go down quite a bit, you know what I mean? With the men's rating.
No. So you're saying...
I mean that if the woman was 25 plus, because Sopiko is not 25.
Yeah, or if Judith Polgar had married an average GM instead of a veterinarian, like she'd be up there.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't her priority.
So
anyway.
Polgar, who is now retired, I read recently that she is again the top rated female player, but just because Hu Yifan undertook her rather than the other way around.
Yeah. No, I think we'll concede the title to Wojtaszek for now. Another very important topic I have to discuss with everyone. Chess players with tattoos. Do you have any info for us on that?
No, it's funny you should say that. I've never talked about this.
I'm obsessed with it. I don't think any player in the top 100 has a tattoo. I'm trying to find out differently.
Did you see the Twitter account of Anastasia Karlovic?
Of course, I retweeted it because any evidence I can see about chess tattoos, I'm obsessed with.
And
but
do we know? I read some.
We don't know the solution.
We don't know. Can we bring it up for the people out there?
Let's
show them what
try.
we're talking about. I was quite curious. I read all the comments on the tweet, hoping to find the answer, but I was disappointed to see there was no answer.
No, that didn't work. Another try. Now we're not fully in the picture anymore, but it is about the tattoo. The question is, which chess player owns this tattoo, ladies and gentlemen? If you know anything, please let us know. I don't know. I don't think she's solved it. I think it's like she's going to keep us guessing for a while.
How strong do you think this player is? What's your guess?
I don't think that's a strong player.
What's a define strong player?
I don't think it's a grandmaster.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Maybe on a very drunken night out. There's some crazy grandmasters out there, you know.
Yeah, I was surprised because I think 75% of NBA players, this is my big hobby, so I study this stuff, they have 75% of NBA players have tattoos and 0% of top 100 chess players.
Are you positive about this? That none of in the top 100?
No, but I've asked around for a while. Like, why would you make it a secret, right? If you have a tattoo, people normally will tell you I have a tattoo.
Who is the strongest player you know who has a tattoo?
I don't know anybody. I think there's a Finnish grandmaster who has a tattoo. What's his name again? I forgot the name. But I think there is grandmasters, but who the strongest is, I still haven't established. Sad, my research shall continue.
Actually, I've talked about this, but not chess related, but how some sports, like you talked about the NBA, I also find, and sadly I don't watch too much basketball, I watch a lot of football, and how I think it's getting more and more fashionable to have tattoos. Like, I rarely ever see a football player who doesn't have one nowadays, and when you look tennis, on the other hand, for example, like tennis and football are two of the sports I like to follow. There is hardly anyone.
Oh, they don't have tattoos either, yes?
There's I think one of the ones people don't know about, Wawrinka has a tattoo, who's now up there. But, and I always wondered if tattoo, like, I wonder first of all, why do all the football players have to get tattoos? And I was about to say something that wasn't politically correct. But which you shouldn't take so seriously. I was just wondering if the proportion of intelligence and tattoos.
I don't think that's it. My theory is in team sports, guys get tattoos because they hang out together in the locker room.
You don't want to feel
check
left
out
out.
This tattoo. Oh, isn't it painful and is it safe? No, don't worry. I got this guy. I'll give you the directions and you go get one yourself. And then it becomes a group thing. While in tennis or chess, individual sports, there's no such thing. There's never the cool guy in the locker room who, well, be it peer pressure or whatever, gets you a tattoo. I'm not sure. I've thought about this too. If dumb people get more tattoos, maybe, but I don't think that's the main reason.
I didn't want to say that as a
general.
I'm
just curious.
Like, of course, I have many good friends who have tattoos, and I don't have anything against people who have tattoos. But yeah, just in general. Some of these football players strike me as not being the most intelligent people out there. But again, maybe
they don't have to be.
Maybe
they
I'm
make
just
millions. They get good at football. Why would you need to know stuff?
Yeah.
There's Google and Wikipedia if you want to find out anything. No, I'm not sure. Chess players, I think they're quite smart and planning far ahead. So maybe this thought like, oh, I can never get rid of this is big for them. And I also don't think they're that worried about fashion. Well, I find a lot of fashionable people, whatever. David Beckham, he's going to have his tattoos. And, well, you might regret them at some point, but it's a fashion choice. So, yeah, I'll keep pursuing the topic, but looks like we don't know
I'll
anybody.
start, actually. Something I'm quite interested. It's very random, but quite an interesting topic. I hadn't thought about it, but I'll help your research.
Please do, please do.
We have a question. Can a regular man, non-related to chess, marry a professional female player? What's your take on that?
What, can he, if it's legal? Or
I think probably more like,
it's a
can
good
he
idea,
cope with it? Yeah.
I think, of course we're stereotyping a bit here, but I do think, blah, 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 people are different. If it's a good match, sure, I don't see any reason against it. It's not so bad to be a chess player.
What's your personal experience?
I never married anybody, so...
But not with marriage, but do you, like in general, not just, I mean, in romantic relations, but friendship, like in general, how much time do you spend with chess players? How much time do you spend with non-chess players?
I think people are complicated enough as it is. For me, honestly, it doesn't make big difference with my chess playing friends or chess playing girlfriends or non-chess playing friends or girlfriends in the past. Like, you don't talk much about chess at home anyway, so I mean, people are very different. Sometimes it matches well and sometimes it doesn't, but I don't think that chess is such big of a factor there, honestly.
I think it's probably more just that it's the people, like, we've both been playing chess for a long time. Like, I notice most of the friends around me are chess players, but that's just because I've known them since I was a child, and it's just something we grew up doing together, and we would just see each other all the time. So it's not because they're chess players, but that's just the way it was. And I was talking about this actually just before we did our show with Ilya in the office, and he said that it's weird because friends from school, like some of them you stay in touch with, but usually you'll have your friends in primary school, you'll have your friends in high school, you'll have your friends at university, but then they're just there for some part of the way, you know, like just a few of them will actually stick with you, while chess players, you'll never get rid of them.
Never go away.
They never go away.
That's also a tricky thing, because with your chess playing friends, or at least for me it's quite normal, I don't see someone for whatever, half a year and there's zero communication, then you meet at a tournament or wherever, and everything is as it's always been, your friends. Well, if you apply that theory to real life and real people, well, chess is real life, but to people outside the chess world,
to some extent,
as I've done many times, then people are actually not so cool with there's zero communication, you don't call for a year and now we're friends again. But it seems to work like that in the chess world.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's something I really like about the chess world. Sometimes it's half a year, but sometimes there's people you don't see for like 4 or 5, sometimes 10 years. And it's just great seeing them again. So, yeah, that's just the way it is. I'm not saying we don't have any or for me personally, I do have some non-chess player friends, but not too many of them actually. There's someone about a tattoo asking us if we like this tattoo. I don't know. I can't even open it. A St. Pauli tattoo.
Oh, that's a pity. We can't open it. Anyway, we'll continue that. Before we let you go, can you recommend some open tournaments for the people out there? I know you play a lot of tournaments or go to a lot of tournaments. Reykjavik, all over the place. What's your favorite?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be difficult. I'm worried about being biased. Obviously, I haven't played all over. I've mostly to start with played open tournaments in Europe. I haven't played too many outside of Europe, so I can't say too much for them. But in Europe, obviously Reykjavik. If you people think I'm just saying that because I worked there, that's not true, because I did play there 3 or 4 times before I started working there. We talked about this yesterday with Ilya. I always lost rating points when I went there because there's a lot of underrated players, but the tournament in itself is quite an experience.
I played once. I lost a lot of rating and was like minus 30 degrees. The city is fantastic, people are fantastic, but it was too cold and too expensive rating-wise for me.
I think if you have the chance, you have to go to Gibraltar at least once. I think Gibraltar is absolutely up there. Not only is it the strongest, or one of the strongest, I think it's probably the strongest open tournament, because there's Qatar now, but it isn't actually open. It's above 2,300 or whatever. So I think Gibraltar is actually the strongest. and it's also there's so many side events. You get to see some of the strongest players in the world. I think definitely do go to Gibraltar, and then in the summer I quite like the Greek tournaments. You know, one of my when I check for tournaments, one of the first things I check is the schedule, especially for summer tournaments. If the rounds start before 3, then there's no chance I'm going to be playing there.
But they never do they?
No, the Scottish Championship, which took place just 2 weeks ago, I thought of playing there, and I saw the round started at 1 p.m. daily.
No, that's too
and
early.
I thought, that's just...
3 is the correct time.
I think 3 is fine. If it's 4 or 5, then great in the summer.
Yeah, I like 3, because 4 or 5, like, the day can get very long, even if you get up late, and then it's hard to find food after the game. I think 3 is right. 1 is unacceptable. 2 is a bit early too.
Yeah. I will work another tournament, which I can talk about, which only started last year, is the Isle of Man.
Okay.
And they're starting at 1:30. I told Alan, who might or might not be watching this, last year, that I thought it was a bit early, but it's been maintained to 1:30. Apparently, most grandmasters were happy with this. So who are we? Who are we to argue? Yeah. What's your favorite? We talked about Bangkok before.
Thailand Open, no question. Yeah, I've played Gibraltar. I liked it there. I've lived in Gibraltar for 2 years, so I'm biased. I've seen the monkeys enough, but I think it's a nice event. They have a lot of side events, and it's very strong if you're into this real chess experience. Else, yeah, well, I only play Thailand Open every year, so that's the only one I know. To my mind, like, in Europe, there's many great cities, but everything is kind of similar. While going to Asia, or that's what I want to do more, go to places where I've never been. I want to play in South Africa and tournaments like that. In Europe, there's a lot of good tournaments, the Greek tournaments, the Spanish tournaments.
I've never played any of the Spanish tournaments.
I've just played Porto Manu in Sardinia. It's also a very nice place. There's a lot of good places, but yeah, my favorite is the Thailand Open, no question about it.
Have you got any plans, any tournaments coming up?
I'm not so good at planning. Like, I know today is Wednesday? Yeah. I'll probably go visit the St. Pauli Open. I'll play the Blitz tournament on Saturday. That's as far as I can plan. No, but honestly, probably not. Maybe I'll play in the Spanish league. But no. If you have any good tournaments out there, tournament organizers of the world, let me know. I want a lot of money and great conditions, but in return, I'll make a lot of quick draws and not socialize with everyone. So it's really a win-win situation. Send me a mail or contact me on Chess24, Jan. I'd be delighted to take your money.
Sure, there'll be plenty waiting in your inbox for you.
Yeah, I know how to self-advertise.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to say, to get rid of on this show?
I think I've shared all my biggest worries. Tattoos, cheating, marriage. That's all I got.
Yeah. And Nigel.
And Nigel, yeah. I'm constantly concerned about Nigel. Thank you guys so much for watching, for... The chat is too far away from me. For contributing in the chat. We'll go check out the St. Pauli Open, the big tournament going on in Hamburg right now. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.